Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Nuestra Tabla Rasa, or something like that. Um, my topic that I wanted to bring up to the group is are you happy? And quite simply, the idea of what exactly is happiness, and if you don't have happiness, what would bring you to happiness? And if you are happy, well, how you're happy? What brings you to your joy? And I have a few notes here, which actually brought me down a rabbit hole. So, does anybody have any input on are they happy? I could pick somebody.
I'd say I'm happy for the most part. I would say I'm happy, and that doesn't mean that. Oh, I'm hearing myself in the delay. That's weird. That's never happened before. I'm gonna go back out and come back in.
Okay, okay. So, Victor, are you happy?
I'm very happy, Lucky. I'm
So,
very happy.
so how did you find your happiness?
Well, I learned something long ago. I I uh, I found it because I was looking for it, and I discovered that what it ultimately comes down to that I am in charge of my happiness. I can't. Millie's not in charge of it. You're not in charge of it. No one in chat is. So I am in charge of it, and I take my happiness very seriously, and I work on it. And Trista was kind of saying that she might most of the time. I would say I would say it's more for me. It's when I'm not in a happy state, and I am in the camp that I simply chose it. To answer your question briefly, there, Lucky, I choose happiness.
You choose to be happy, so you
Sure.
manifest your happiness. It's
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, sure, you're manifesting it. But like anything, it's like being in joy. It's the things we choose. If you want to walk around in a cloud all day, guess what? You're going to walk around in a cloud all day. And I think it's completely a choice. But I do things to help my happiness thrive as well. But I'll give everyone else a.
so Millie, you're left. Although we can go back to Trista afterwards. But Millie, are you happy?
Yes, I am happy. And I believe that what Victor says is very much true. It's how you look at things and you choosing for yourself to be happy. Um, I think that happy is different than being in a state of joy. I think that happy is something that you can be happy for a little while, but then there's things that maybe happen throughout the day that like you don't sustain that happiness. Whereas like when you're in joy, I feel like that's like more consistent. But I'm not quite sure. Like I haven't figured that out yet. But for the most part, yes, I am happy. I do things that make me happy, but not always, right? But for the most part, yes, I am happy. I wake up every day. I'm happy to be awake. I'm happy to be living. I'm happy to be with my children. Like so, I'm around people that make me happy. I do the things that make me happy. Do I do everything that makes me happy? No, but I think that it's a give and a take. I think that it I couldn't possibly right now think of what it would be like to be in that consistent state. I think that you have to know what makes you unhappy to know what does make you happy. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how to explain that, but it's not a consistent happiness. But yes, I'm happy.
That's good.
So, Trista, are you happy? Have you finished your thought on whether you're happy or not?
Me?
Sorry, was that me?
Trista, yeah,
That's
Trista,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
Trista.
Yes, I would say I'm happy. That doesn't mean that everything in my life is perfect, but it is a choice for sure. In the grand scheme of things, and I think and I'm learning firsthand that there's chemical things that go on that make you not so happy and make it a much, much, much harder choice. Um, but at the same time, I think that the ultimate state of happiness is more about like how your baseline, right? So the risk of not being happy comes when we put our happiness into things that are outside of us, things that we can lose. And then it comes along with fear, right? Because then you're always, going about your life fearing that you're going to lose that thing that all of your happiness is in. So if we bring it inside and are happy regardless of what comes and what goes, then that's really the key.
That's true. This is all very true. And I absolutely agree with all of you. I mean, it's sometimes happiness is fleeting. Sometimes you don't know how to become happy. But like Victor said, it's kind of a like brings like, where you have to choose to be happy. And sometimes you might be in a struggle, but once you get your mindset in the right place, you can be happy once you choose the right things. You had to find the things that will bring you up. And it might mean you stopping for a moment and just bringing something that will bring you joy for a few minutes to turn you around.
Now, Lucky, can you answer the same question you just asked us?
Am I happy?
Yes.
Well, of course, I have multiple voices in my head. They're always keeping me happy. I entertainment. I have so much. I have so many opportunities for happiness. And honestly, what brings me the most joy is getting outside and taking my walks. And sometimes I forget that if I get up first thing in the morning and take a walk, it really brings the rest of the day together. It makes it, brings joy. And if I do it later in the day, it helps. But it's just one of those things where getting outside, just literally getting outside, no matter what the weather is, and taking a walk, even in the pouring rain, which I do have jackets that are waterproof, which is for these moments. And now where I lived is hunting season. Well, if I want to walk the trails, I gotta, wear, was it fluorescent orange?
Is
Hunting
it duck
orange.
season or rabbit season?
I think it's turkey season. I have no idea actually. All I know is that the sign on the trail said, "It is now hunting season, and hunters are required to wear, flame orange, and you should too if you're going to be walking the trails." And I'm like, "Yep, I got it in my car." But again, getting outside, that's one of my things. And also, I mean, nutrition wise, that there are things that I add to my diet, which I'm not going to bring them up because I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to advise anybody, but I do take things in my own life to bring up, to kind of, it's the weirdest thing. It will knock down my depression and anxiety by taking certain nutrients. And also drinking lots of water, which water is an amazing thing. Although I would advise drinking filtered water more than anything else. I mean, tap water is fine, but again, it's better to have it filtered, at least do something. Um, but that's a rabbit hole of itself, or rabbit trail. I think,
Indeed.
yeah. But the point being is, I got into a whole thing with happiness because honestly, I went on vacation with some friends, and after the vacation, they've stopped talking to me. And then I was going to use that, friendship and losing friends over these things. And then I'm like, wait a second. What about this is causing me to struggle? And I realize, is it the connection that I've lost, or is it just, what to them? Why am I bringing myself down because I've lost a connection with my friends? Because again, time will tell. They'll probably come back to me. And then I turned things around and go, okay, the happiness is not my friend's obligation. Just because my friends stop talking to me doesn't mean I have to be upset and try to figure out why. Until they're ready to talk to me, then they can tell me, and then my happiness is all in my hands. And that's where I got the rabbit hole. And then happiness is an intense, fleeting, often short-lived emotion. while contentment is a calm, peaceful, and long lasting state of satisfaction with life. And I got them reversed. And I was thinking contentment is kind of, I thought contentment was not as happiness as being happy. Then I realized you can't be comfortable in life unless you are actually in a place of joy, at least some bit. So if you're content, there's going to be some long lasting joy over there. And then again, rabbit holes everywhere. Um, and the key differences of the two, it gets convoluted. But I just
Between
found it
happiness and contentment.
exactly. And it was so interesting that I thought myself, I don't want to be content. I want to be happy. Then I realized, actually, no. I want to be content. I want to be calm, peaceful, and just you know at peace and not worry. And I mean, happiness is an up and down sort of thing. Well, contentment is kind of a flat thing, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I think you're saying what I was trying to say with happy and joy. And then when Trista wrapped up her statement and she was talking about what did she just say at the end? I can't remember. But I was just kind of like, oh, happy go lucky. Like if you have that attitude already where you're looking at things in a positive frame and you're not looking at things as drudgery, but just as things that you have to do and with a positive outlook, and you're happy go lucky, then you can remain in that constant state of joy because you're not looking at it as something negative. But that's not to say like all light and love kind of thing either. But like you know what I mean. But the baseline is that of more than being content. It's like an elevated like happy. But your happy and joy is what my happy and joy is kind of like what you're saying with the content and happy.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah. It, it's
Yeah.
it's
So it's like contentment is the cake, and then happiness is kind of the icing.
Right. Whereas I was looking at it as happy is the cake and then joy being the icing. But
Yeah,
it's just,
it still works.
It's
yeah.
all semantics.
Hmm.
Yeah, because think about it. When you have a baseline of contentment, getting higher is really easy. It's really easy. It's really easy to add that joy and add that happiness and add uh, anything else, calm or hope, anything else you want to add on top of it. And so I think it's behooves everyone to walk around in that state of contentment slash happiness. And it's even, even when you're doing the drudge work, I think the Buddhism gets into this a little bit, I believe. Some of you may know some of it or have studied some of it, but it talks about enjoy it, enjoy everything you do, and actually really dig into it, and enjoy that moment while you're toiling for, you're cleaning the cat pan, you're doing some laundry, anything like that. And you don't necessarily have to make it a game, but I think some people, have you guys heard of that? People make things games. And I guess we do that to children too, don't we? We make, cleaning up their room a game, make it all palatable.
and that's the thing. It's finding the peace and joy in the moment. I mean, the power of now. I mean, I do absolutely adore Eckhart Tolle. I just everything he comes about. It's expensive to watch live, but his stuff is available easily. And welcome, Josh.
Oh, welcome.
Hi guys,
S-
grateful to be.
So,
How are
Josh,
we doing, folks? Thank you.
Josh, are you happy?
Go back to where you. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, I'll give you guys a little story here. I went to Detroit, right, and I'm standing there, uh, Motown, right, and so guess who's our docent for Motown? Stuff, right, right. Um, Stevie Wonder's stepchild, and so we go into this room and we look up in this, and there's the ceiling, and you you happy now? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, are you happy? Well, you will be. And he goes, look up. He said, hear the song Happy. And I go, well, of course. He goes, song Happy was echo the whole ceiling. I don't know, but that made me happy to be in that room and to be able to see that. But am I happy? Yes. I think happiness, once I learned that happiness wasn't based on anything outside of myself, but is happiness, it's a general, yes, I'm happy, but is it always, do I always express that? No. Is it, am I always, no. But my overall demeanor, I would think is generally happy. It hasn't been, but as I peel the onion away, the happier and the happier and the happier, I get more and more happy all the time. Yeah. I'm not holding any of the old stuff. So.
That's important because
You guys,
the past can be an anchor. It can hold you down, and that's that's one of the problems in life. A lot of our own possessions, which some of us collect things, and unfortunately, those things will anchor us down and take us off our goal. What's Millie doing?
I found an almond joy next to my bed. That makes me happy.
That's the thing. Little things like that are so important. Um, it's it's wonder. There's yeah, like I was talking about. Sometimes we collect things and we bring in more and more stuff. Will think make us happier, but we're searching for better and more, and it weighs us down. And it's not. The thing is, by grabbing more things and collecting things around us, it's actually not going to make us happy. It's an empty gesture, and sometimes we have to stop ourselves and say, "Why do I need all this stuff?" And
So it's a lesson.
it's a lesson. There's so many lessons in life.
To lessen.
Yeah. Yes. Very good. Oh, I like that.
Funny, right?
That's good. Funny.
And that's what hoarding is. Hoarding is basically you're trying to hold on to the memories of these objects, and you keep them all around you because you're afraid of losing something. The fear of losing, and that's one of the problems we have. And
Yeah.
happiness comes from just with yourself, because again, once we leave this earthly plane, it'll just be us. You're gonna shed this mortal body, and our spirit will be free of everything, and we won't have it. All our possessions will mean nothing.
Lucky, we're getting a request for you to finish your thoughts on Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't read the chat because my brain is. Yes, Eckhart Tolle, wonderful man. I read his books. Sometimes I watch some of his videos, and that's all free. So actually going to his shows are very expensive. It is astronomical, but he's admitted that the shows mean nothing. The shows, you don't have to come to the shows. Everything I ever provide is in the books, and even then, the books are available in libraries. They're available in the secondhand shops. They're all available for very cheap and sometimes even free. You don't have to come to my shows, but people want to come, so I'll sell the tickets. And I mean, that's the thing. What happens he just teaches so well about just existing in the moment. And his lectures, when someone asks a question, he knows the power of silence. And that's something that I need to grab onto more often, especially when dealing with work BS. When people bring this stuff up and it's just annoying. I don't have to talk. I don't have to respond. I can stay quiet. And awkward silence is one of my favorite things because it leaves them, the people who brought up this thing, let them to think about what they said and whether they're coming to me with anything important. But that's the here nor there. But I think the most important thing we can have is that living in the now and not having to rush for the next moment. But that's just fleeting. I mean, life is about living in the now, and that's truly what is happiness. Well, just being safe, being content, and knowing that everything is good. And again, that is all under your control. That is the truth. People can come and bring up their neighbor kicks. Um, People can bring up their silliness, their negative talk, and they can unload on you with all their negative talk, and you can never really say that person's making me angry, that person's making me sad, because no matter what they're doing, no matter what their intention is, it has no power over you until you let it. So you take what their words they say, accept it, and go, and then absorb it in yourself, and then you become that emotion that they want to put on you. So that's something that, again, I went through a rabbit hole. I went all around, right around, and had a good old time, and had like 4 pages, put it down to 1 page about just basically, I was looking for contentment and saying, am I happy, when all in the whole time I just want to be content and at peace. And the Buddha believed in the middle path, and I believe Jesus believed in the middle path. Sometimes it's just not about searching and fighting, and it's just about just enjoying the moment and enjoying the people around you. But maybe I talk too much.
Maybe did Josh finish his thought? I have a thought now that you're talking about rabbit holes. So, Josh, did you finish? Did we cut you off, or did the internet cut you off? Did you finish your thought?
If it did, that's fine. Just go ahead with what you were saying there. Go ahead, guys.
I just when you were talking about your rabbit holes, Lucky, I just wanted to jump in real quick and talk about how I had shared with you guys that I kept hearing that song, "Get Happy" from Judy Garland,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
in one of those, the lyrics and one of the things it talked about, forget your sins or dump your sins, just come on, get happy. And what you were saying now about like people dumping on you, but in that not line of the lyrics, she was saying the opposite, kind of like there's no such thing as sin, or forget about all that and just get happy, like drop your burdens and get happy. So, but what you were just saying now is like, because we put ourselves in that state, right? By putting that guilt or that shame or whatever, which really doesn't exist. And those are lower vibrational. If we want to, talk about throwing that stuff in too. But
Absolutely. That's the truth. Does anyone else have any input on that? Because that song is about Judgment Day. Be happy because it's going to be Judgment Day. And in of itself, it's a weird song, but you think Judgment Day, for most people, religious people, Judgment Day is a day you pay for your sins. But this song is about just be happy. Judgment Day is coming anyways, but you can be happy. It doesn't matter. Judgment Day is here. Fine, just be happy. It's an amazing song. I listened to it several times because they kept going again. Judy Garland to Hugh Laurie to, I have no idea. It was a couple people did covers of it, and I kept being over and over again. And I heard the words, and I'm like, it's about Judgment Day, but again, it's about joy during Judgment Day, and that seems to be contradictory. But in of itself, if you really think about it, it doesn't have to be. But we do. I mean, honestly, living day to day, everything is, no matter what happens, it's always bad news. But it doesn't have to be bad news. It's weird that we're talking about someone at work, and they were talking about how bad news, and I'm like, actually, this is actually good news. This is about us learning and progressing and moving forward from it. So this, what you're calling bad news, is actually something to build upon, because sometimes you can't build unless you destroy. You find something wrong, you find a hole, you got to fill it. Well, now you know where the hole is, now you don't have to worry about it anymore. But they didn't want to hear that. They wanted to focus on the problems and rather than finding a solution. Which me, I am very solution oriented. I love when things go wrong because that's when people call upon me and I can fix it. When things are easy, I tend to get really anxious. I think that's a sign of, I think, ADHD or autism, something like that. Someone was saying that, and I didn't listen because I don't need labels. Labels are for, they always, she's always got the great, great lines. I mean, just amazing stuff. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
yes. Happiness is a core value. Yes. It's down deep in us, and it's our choice whether to have it or not. But what do we do when we don't have happiness? How can you find the happiness?
I think it's that, and I guess it depends on what grade or level of happiness we're talking about, but so much of it is in releasing attachment, because having attachment to things or people or anything outside of you is going to create fear, right? Because then you have that fear of losing it. So it can't be proper happiness when you have fear attached. And like in Buddhism, they say everything that rises up passes away. And coming to grips with that and really learning that can lead to that contentment or happiness, that baseline happiness.
That's interesting. I was going to talk about something. I made a couple notes, of course, to prepare for this, and I realized while thinking about these things that, because back to your question, Lucky, that what do you do? How do you get to that happy? How do you find happiness? And see, I wrote down, I'm not seeking happiness. I make it. It is a choice, and regardless of what's put in front of me, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at it from the rosiest spot possible, and then look at it and observe it. Not. I don't like to take the worst case scenario and present it to myself and work from there. I'm going to look at the best case scenario, and regardless of what it is, if and I got a good compliment from Trista one night because I hit my elbow on my desk, and what did I say, Trista? What was
Awesome.
I was like, oh, that was awesome. You see, and you get in the habit of making, hitting your not so funny bone, and you make it, and that was my autonomic response. You see, that was my response to hitting my elbow, instead of saying, oh, gee, all this nonsense, negativity, and just make it an even worse situation. I said, hey, that's awesome. So I just made it, and then the pain quickly went away, and I just went on with it. But that's kind of the baseline I like to work from. And so it's just easy. It's an easy jump. It's easy jump. It's easy jump. Because why would you make it more difficult for yourself?
That's profound. I never considered that, but that is huge. Because why wallow in the pain, but enjoy the experience? I mean, yeah, hitting your funny bone is shocking. It's awful, and it's not funny. But that doesn't mean it can't be in some way an experience that you can enjoy. Not
Yeah, but
enjoy the
see,
pain. Enjoy
why
the
can't
experience.
that experience be maximized?
That's fascinating. That's a very fascinating point.
Because our negative experiences, or deemed less positive, are just as important as our deemed positive experiences.
Absolutely. It's I'm writing it down because that's an important piece of information. Um, yeah. So if something happens and it others would term it as negative, you in the right mindset can say this is great and here's why. Like for me at work, when things go wrong, that's when people come to me. That's when I can shine, and that's an awesome experience. And people are all wallowing in the problem, and I'm so focused on the solution. And so many things in life, it's about that. It's about focusing on the goodness. And even though it might seem bad to others, it doesn't mean you have to keep it bad. I mean, experiences are about that. This is what life is about, experience, right? What is the meaning of life? Experience. We're here to experience it. And I think we're always searching for the one true meaning of life, when I don't think there is one. I think each of us have our own, and it's all about how we experience life, what we do with it. That's like with the Defending Your Life. I love that movie, Defending Your Life, with Brooks. Oh, doesn't matter. It's a wonderful movie because it was all about life is about overcoming fear. That was it. And that's the truth. I mean, we are so focused on fear, it kind of brings us down. It kind of pulls us down and takes us away from compassion and love.
And right when you said the word truth, I read the word truth in chat simultaneously. That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I figured I'd share that little synchronicity with you guys.
That happened to someone. I think it was Karen Suki or something. And she shared that. I was like, that's that Victor thing that happens. Now it's that Victor thing.
No, it's a Victor thing.
Well, that's what the synchronicities that happen. You've got to be aware of them, and once you're aware of them, more and more start happening. Just coincidence. We can call them coincidence. Oh yeah, they're coincidence. But eventually, you realize that there's a lot of synchronicity.
Hey, I put a comment up from Karen Suki for the panel.
For those who struggle, I want to say it can be frustrating for those who struggle to find it when others just keep saying decide to be, which makes it worse. Like there's something wrong with you. Well,
And I can touch on that because I'm kind of living that right now, although it's more kind of on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm not struggling with long-term depression, so that's like a whole other thing. But for me, with like, because I'm clearly going through perimenopause, so it's like my emotions are all over the place. And when I'm in that low space, it is overwhelming. And it feels like I am never going to be happy again.
uh-huh.
And in that state, I can't choose it then, but what keeps me going is going, okay, I can choose it again. I just have to ride this out and go with it until I can, make that choice. And a lot of it is just kind of going with that negative emotion that I'm feeling, in a manner of speaking, maybe not too much because otherwise, I might murder people, but just riding it gently and waiting for like that equilibrium to kind of come back. And it is a privilege for sure to be able to know that that's coming in the next few days. And I wouldn't want to be dealing with a situation where I don't know that, where it's long term, and that can be really tough. For sure. But then it's chemical, right? So it's not the choice part behind a chemical imbalance is much different. It really is. Like I think that when I have dealt with stuff like that in the past, it's been more about trying to find the medicine in it from day to day, which is also challenging, but for me was helpful. I had a saliva test done many years ago. I haven't done anything lately, though. No, thank you, Serena. I have a requisition to go for a bunch of stuff, but I have been putting it off because I'm not a big fan of doctors. I've had a requisition since like December. What is it now? August? September? Whoops.
Drew,
Yeah.
fear is the disease that eats you from the inside out. It's the truth. I mean, I know that when I have my anxiety situations, it feels like it'll never be over. And you feel like everyone's knowing that you're having anxiety when no one even notices anything. No one. The funny thing about life is people are more focused on themselves than what you're doing. And even though, I mean, if you're having an anxiety attack, you're fearing they're going to figure out that I'm having an anxiety attack, and it makes it worse. And it gets it worse and worse and worse. And then when someone tells you, like my wife, just calm down, don't worry about it, that is absolutely impossible. Um, and me, it's like, I got to get the heck out of here, which is not what I say exactly, but yes. I mean, we went the other day, yesterday, we went to a flea market, and I walked into a room, and my anxiety went through the roof. And that's when I said, "What's going on here?" And I realized there's a haunted object in this room.
Oh, wow.
It's unfortunately it's one of the things when you get tapped to it. You know energy work, and at if you're not focusing on keeping your energy and you're looking for, I was looking for things, not for haunted objects, just looking for interesting things, and realized I was putting out the wrong energy. And so hey, I'm over here, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't want this.
So you get a specific feeling whenever it's something that's haunted.
Yes, it is. It is incredible. It is, and sometimes it's depending on the level of a haunted object.
And can you define haunted real quick, please? Because what
Usually,
exactly makes it haunted?
it's an object that has usually energy from a certain individual that they have. Usually, it's a prized object that someone. Usually, it's metal, rock, or wood that can absorb some of these energies. Um, Crystals are huge with that. Sometimes stuffed animals, porcelain dolls will take it. I'm not sure how this. I don't know how some of these things get haunted, but I do know when they are, what direction they are. And yesterday, I wasn't in the mood to pick up and deal with any haunted objects.
So technically, this is haunted if this is dear to me, and I just love it, and it's my favorite thing.
No, if you carry that for you every day, that there are things that you carry on you. Like, let's just say, not me, my cell phone, but myself. I always lose my cell phone. That's one thing. But some people with their cell phones, where if they don't have it, they know it and they have to grab it. They have to get it. I do have stones that I bring with me everywhere I go. And if I don't have it with me, I just don't feel right. I'm technically making a haunted object for someone else if I let it go. I have rings that actually are old rings that I bought that I knew had special energy, that was something that was sacred to somebody, or not sacred, but important to somebody. And I did take that on. It was a haunted object that I said, okay, I will take care of this. Um, and unfortunately, if you take on a haunted object, it's like taking on a child or a pet. You have to treat it with respect. You have to put it in a special and treat it with respect. It's not hard, but it's not like having a child, but it's like more like having a pet that you have to put in a certain place, to treat in a certain way. I have a place like an altar that I place them onto, and it's okay. This is a good place. It's safe and clean energy, that sort of thing.
Hey, remind me to show you something after the show, please.
Oh yeah, it's easy. I have a pen and a paper, and I don't have a pen. I have a pen and everything. Look at this.
That's interesting that you say that, Lucky. Hershey deals with objects like that had sacred meanings for people or that had certain energies, and she collects them and does I don't know what with them, but you should talk to Hershey about that.
Yeah, I used to do that until I got one that my wife told me to take out of the house. Um, it was I got connected with certain people. I love turtles. I love reptiles. I have a thing for reptiles. And there was down in, was it back when um, Louisiana is that city that, no, Louisiana, Mardi Gras,
New Orleans.
New Orleans,
Narlands.
New Orleans, New Orleans. What?
I think she lived there once.
Hear you, Lucky.
Wait, Lucky, something happened. See, you start talking about New Orleans.
You're muffled.
Yeah.
I'm muffled?
There
Really?
you go. Now
Yeah.
you're much better.
Ooh.
I think your lavalier got in your shirt.
No, it's actually wired.
Right,
It doesn't
but
matter.
the speaker, your mic input is right there by your
Okay,
collar.
okay.
That
Well,
must have just gotten in your shirt.
maybe. Yeah, I'll just be sit up. But
Or it
let's
was a
say
ghost.
there was a voodoo priestess who had some personal objects, and I took on the turtle shell. It was a turtle shell. It was a snapping turtle shell, which was not it's not um, endangered, so it's you can actually sell these shells, and it was painted and everything. I brought it in the house, and my wife said there was a black woman with a headdress walking around the house, and you have to get rid of that. And I realized, oh dear. So yeah, so I stopped collecting things because I realized it can get out of hand. Uh,
Wow.
I end up bringing it to a new age shop, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, this object is haunted. It's not done. It's not a endangered species. It's a snapping turtle. So that this turtle, it's you can own this without having FDA come after not FDA the wildlife people come after you. It's safe. It is very haunted." And I explained the whole thing, and she was tickled pink. She was so happy, and I explained the whole story, what I know about it, and I gave her my phone number and my email, everything. Any problems, you call me. She never called me, never even contacted me afterwards. I explained everything, and I guess it got to a safe place. And I told her that if it gets to be a problem for you, I'll take it back and find someone else. But I found the right person by accident. Actually, I didn't find it by accident, but let's just say I was drawn to a certain place that I never been to before, and walked in and said, "Hey, I have this object. It's haunted. It's haunted with someone who's very, very strong with it, and my wife wants it out of the house." And
Uh,
yeah, and I again, for me, I take an object, I gotta treat it with respect, and my wife wants that out of the house. I'm not just gonna throw it outside. I'm not gonna bury it because that would just be wrong. Find someone else who can appreciate it.
hey, Lucky, I have a question for you about that. So when you do this stuff, does it make you happy?
That's complicated as all heavens.
You see, because obviously you do it because you're getting something. You're helping. Maybe it's from the guys that you're helping someone. Ben, I think, put that in there earlier about it's so rewarding to help people, and that's a wonderful source of happiness. In my book, is being able to help someone or to bless someone else's life. I think I'll have to think about it, but I think that's probably peak happiness for me, is being able to help someone else.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It is great making the connection with something, putting it well, and finding somebody who can appreciate it and handing it off to them. That actually is my favorite thing. When if I have a haunted object, to find someone else who would more deserving of it, and not selling it to them. Usually, it's basically like, yeah, yeah, I paid a lot for this, but you know what? As long as you take care of this and do not sell it, it'll be fine. And I usually put on if you sell it, I have no implications of what happens to you if you sell it. But by keeping it, treating it well, it will treat you well. Um, but that's good to hear, because sometimes some objects are negative, and those need to be like a bad dog. Like there's no such thing as a bad dog. It's not treated right. So if you have a negative object, it can be right. The right person can use it in a positive way, but a lot of people won't admit to that. Because unfortunately for me, I've never met a demon, but I have walked into a haunted place and walked out the door, just left. Um, and
Why did you do that?
why? Because I was asked to leave by the entity, not by the people there. And I said, you know what? I'm gone. And my guide said, yeah, cool, no problem. Because my guides are pretty much, it's all in my choices, anyways. My guides are very much,
So you pick your battles then.
oh, yeah, yes, exactly. I was not ready for the entity, the energy in that room. I was walking in one room. I felt some negativity, fine. I dealt with that individual. That's cool. That one's cool. But then I walked to another room, and there was just such negativity that I could not deal with it. And it turns out one of the things where they had like 4 guides, where they had the presenter, they had a presenter's assistant, then they had 2 people in the back. And I just walked to the door, and they already had someone outside. And I talked to her about it, and she said to me, "Yeah, some people say that." And I was explaining it, and she goes, "Yeah, yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that room is. We don't know what it is. We have no idea what it is, but it's pretty intense to some people. But a lot of people never feel it." And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I never dealt with a demon, but I don't know what that is. I wouldn't call it a demon. It's just a negative entity." And I wasn't as ready to deal with it. Maybe another time I'll come back. She says, "Sure, you're welcome back anytime." Of course, that's money that they can make because of the tours, but you know,
Interesting.
haunted objects are interesting, that's for sure. But that does it make me happy when I find the right person that fits with it? Absolutely. And a lot of times, haunted objects will come into my life because I'm not there to take it on, but to pass it on to someone else who might need it or be able to use it in a much more efficient, effective way. But again, I buy them and never sell them. I just kind of, you know, I think it's more powerful that buying it kind of, it's okay, but giving it away is far more powerful in my opinion. It kind of gives got much more. It's more positive for me because nothing's in life is free. So there's always an obligation here or there. That's when the part of it is. So that's I don't believe in anything being free. Free readings are I believe free readings are dangerous, but getting an object presented to you, that's a different thing. It's a gift, and there's energy passed backwards and forwards, positivity and joy and happiness. But that's just my opinion. I would love other people's opinions on the BS that I pull, but you know my mindset is the way I do things. I mean, I met people that were their jobs to go out in life is to deal with demons and remove demons from houses, and they go, "You should come along sometime." I'm like, I'm not interested in that at all. And why? Because if they're going to a house with a demon, there's always that negative energy towards it, anyways. So if they're going there to get rid of the demon, that negative upon negative, I'm not interested in that. I mean, I'd rather go to a house that's haunted and helping someone deal with their haunting rather than taking something out. And I don't believe demons are always negative because I walked to where I hike. There was an entity that lived there was a protective, and people were saying it was dangerous. It was evil. It was mean. But no, it was just angry because people kept littering. And I explained that to just stop littering, and it would be very happy. It would be very content. But again, these are all my opinions and my experiences, and they might not be the same for other people because I would never tell a demon person who deals with demons that they're doing the wrong thing because I'm sure what they're doing is actually helping. It's just from my point of view and my experiences, I can't do that. But maybe you guys can. Maybe you guys can remove demons because if demons are real and I haven't experienced them, I'm pretty cool with that. If I never meet a demon in my life and believe that demons don't exist, that's friggin' fantastic in my opinion. Because the people who dealt with demons, it's pretty terrible. I mean, The Exorcist, all experiences that poor priest doing with exorcisms, that's horrible. I mean, I had a friend who was an altar boy for a priest who used to remove, let's say, negative entities from people. And he says that was a horrible experience. I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather just help than make connections than remove and expend and fight with something negative.
That could be a whole other show.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever makes them happy.
I mean, but I think that's the point thing about happiness is it's just maybe another thing is you're right, choose. Maybe it's a choice thing. Well, you come and you choose what you're going to do and what's going to come into your life. And maybe my choice in life was never to meet a demon and to run out the door like a scared little child whenever I get a negative entity in the room. So,
So
what?
something I thought of,
Oh,
if I
good,
may,
good, good, good.
because Victor, you were saying that you find happiness and joy in bringing that to other people and in helping other people, and I think that's really important and really brilliant because, like, that's something that with God talks about is when you like if you feel like you lack something, bring it to yourself by giving it to somebody else. And do it not from the standpoint that, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get it, but just because it shows the universe that you have it to give is like part of the theory. But I think when it comes to joy and happiness, it's a whole other ballgame because it really does directly bring that. And maybe in those moments when I or other people are so down that we can't see the light in front of us, that can be a way to bring it in, even without having to decide to feel it, just to bring that kindness and compassion and love to other people, because then you get it back too, right? And then it kind of starts to take off a little bit better. And that's my 2 cents that I just thought of.
And you know what's great about saying that? Is, I said it, 20 minutes ago. Hey, that's what brings me the most happiness. I think that might be my peak happiness. And that's about doing what it was all around other people. So now turn that around on yourself. You see? So maybe that peak happiness can be by doing something wonderful for yourself. And I hadn't really thought about it that way until you just said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, because it's like self-full love in a sense, because you're giving those gifts to yourself as well. Wow. Excellent. I like that.
There is a friend of mine who is very well off, and he told me that the best thing he can do to keep money coming is to give away money without anyone knowing where it came from. And we're walking through Target, and this is when, I'm not sure if but the diapers are sealed inside in plastic bag inside, but the box itself is kind of open on the top. And he would stick an envelope with like 40, because I think the diapers were like $20. He put $40 in an envelope saying, "May you have peace and joy in your life." And he would stick the envelope in these diaper boxes so that when somebody is opening the diaper box, on top of an envelope, you have peace and joy, open it, it's $40 in there, which so basically they bought diapers, end up getting twice as much money back.
Oh, nice. I like that.
But he said it's far more important that you have to give money with no way of it coming back to you. No, it was so important to him that giving away with no one knowing where it came from, it was crucial in his life. And this guy would gamble and always come up ahead to a point where people would from the casino would stand next to him, and he realized, we got to get the heck out of here, because it was times we used to get kicked out. He would get kicked out of his casinos. Then he realized that certain energy where people would come, he knew people watching over him were watching what they were doing, so he would just basically play a little bit more, and then he would, without pushing things too far, would end it, because he didn't want to get banned because they can ban you from a casino. That's one of the rules, that you can be banned. And with all these cameras and everything now, I'm sure that there's some places he still can be banned now. But this guy had luck to a point where it was ridiculous. But he would go to casinos, no problem. But he said playing the lottery is kind of a hard thing to do because there's a lot of sad people out there all begging to get their numbers to come in. Well, at the casino, they're all kind of playing on money that they expect to lose. It was a weird mindset, but the guy was always ahead.
Excellent.
And that's the thing. He felt that the most desperate people who needed money the most, were people with children. And he never had any children, but he knows that they put this money out there. He was helping the next, the parents. And if their parents weren't worrying about money, then at least they could be taking care of the children a little bit better. It was just it was a whole mindset. But the guy, I don't have much connection with him anymore, but he was an interesting individual. Very successful too. No matter what he did, yeah, interesting. Sometimes giving away without anything in return is a powerful act, but it's hard to do.
But you can do that. Well, at least personally, if I'm going to do something for somebody, I'm going to do it from that place of not expecting anything in return. And then that way I'm never disappointed. You see?
Yeah.
I just give it because it's the right thing to do.
That's the truth right there, is to give without anything in return. If you're not expecting it to come back to you, if you're just giving money or objects away without, I'm not expecting anything, you can't be upset when they don't reciprocate, because it doesn't matter. You don't care. It's a powerful act, very, very powerful act.
And then who knows, because there's a good chance that they pay it forward too, right? And then the energy does continue on.
Which is my favorite thing, is that just paying it forward. I think that's crucial. I mean, there was a day when I used to do card readings for people, and the idea was free card readings that they have to pay it forward. But
card. Okay.
Card, yes, yeah, card. Tarot. What the heck did you think I said?
I was thinking cod. I was like, what's he talking about? Fish. Yeah.
That's weird, because I used to be on fishing vessels, but that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
Tarot. I did tarot
Awesome.
readings, but I didn't really do tarot. But let's just say I did tarot readings, and I would say pay it forward. And then a month later, people would come back with the same question. And I realized they weren't paying it forward. The same thing was coming up. They weren't able to get over it. They weren't dealing with it. So I just stopped. Just said, I just can't do this, because if I'm doing the same thing over and over again, that's insanity. If you're just going to keep coming back to me with the same thing, why am I doing this? But that's just me, my experience.
I did, when I was, when I had learned my second level of Reiki and was able to do distance healing, I did a lot of pay it forward Reiki. And I had my Reiki page on Facebook, and then I invited people to ask if they wanted a session or whatever. And I found a lot of people would ask for other people, which I thought was really interesting, which is a area, ethically. But yeah, it was fascinating to me that people felt more comfortable with that kind of strategy when it was going to somebody else.
Interesting.
Or their animals, but that was always awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did it for years, and it was really good, and it gave me lots of great practice and excellent practice working with people who I had no idea who they were or what they looked like or anything, and still getting good feedback. So yeah, and then I wanted it to ripple out, and I said, if you pay it forward in whatever way works for you, but I would prefer it was in a non-financial way, unless that's what's open to you and you have more of that than time or whatever, then go for it. But yeah, I thought it would be better in a more energetic way than money necessarily.
That's huge, because money is easy, but making an effort is huge, and I agree. I think we're getting close to the end. We're almost an hour. Does anyone have anything else that I've strangled and pulled this subject for an hour?
I think it's been great.
Me too.
I have one thing.
Song.
All I want to say is thanks, Hanada, and wearing your shirt.
That's awesome.
I love
Sorry,
it.
I've been quiet on my end. Everything, your audio's been pretty wonky on my end, and it's pretty
Oh,
much sounded like two tabs ass in a bad drunken morning or something. Wah, wah, for the most part. So I apologize, guys. Um, if this is even heard, I have no idea. There is no good dawning tomorrow either, but Tuesday.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. You guys can hear me. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can sort of hear this, but you guys have been pretty wonky. So I don't know what. I didn't even hear the conversation for the most part. I have no idea what was said at all. So, sorry, guys.
hmm.
It's always something on here, hey?
I've had the worst time. I did catch that, and I've had the absolute worst time. I mean, I've had to move around. I've only had like one show where I've been totally clear, and I feel bad like I'm bringing the whole thing down because I'm here, but I'm not even hearing what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
I do know
Interesting. Interesting.
picking up.
Interesting.
But,
It's all good.
yeah.
And my tech issue right in the beginning was not a tech issue. It was a brain issue because I had a tab open and it was playing, and that's why I was getting a what I thought was like some kind of feedback. But no, it was just me being dumb.
You didn't have to tell anybody. You could learn your lesson. Don't have to
But
push it on
that's it.
everyone.
I like to share my dumbness. It's hilarious.
It's not dumb. It's learning. It's about processing, learning experiences. It's fun.
Well, there's a difference between ignorance and stupid.
And I didn't use either of those words, so what am I?
Having
'Cause
fun.
yeah, you're ignorant of something does not mean you're dumb or stupid. Because you're not, in my book, I think you're very intelligent.
Well, it's not that I'm saying that I'm not. It was a dumb mistake, and I got a laugh out of it, so I figured I'd share it.
Oh, yeah, it was fun
It was
in
fun.
that
It was
regard.
silly. We're learning. We can actually learn something because when if ever happens to us, at least we can go. That's right. Trista did that. I know. I can fix that because I know what the problem might be. So, anyone have anything else to sum up about being happy and whether their happiness is in their power? I mean, that's all it is. Happiness is all in our. We're driving the car, you know. We're not just a passenger in our life. We're the driver of our lives, and our happiness is in our own hands.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, I gotta bring it back to that song again. And something somebody said here about dropping all those attachments. I think that song was kind of like soft disclosure, where it was telling you, it's got nothing to do with guilt and shame and all of that because there's no such thing as hell, and basically it's up to you and dropping all those programmed ideas that you have and beliefs about certain things and just get happy already because you're here to live life. Or
Absolutely.
I shouldn't say down here because down, up, wherever. We're here. We're in the now.
We're here.
So I guess that's everything. We've done our hour, and it was enjoyment. Thank you all for watching. We all have, well, yes, we all have our own channels. Josh will be off for a couple days, and
No, I did catch that to just one day. So yeah, I'll be off just tomorrow, and then I'll be back Tuesday.
so you'll be on
After
Tuesday.
Yes.
And Victor will be on tomorrow morning in about 10 hours.
Correct.
And Trista will be on whenever she comes up with a poem or something like that for us to watch. Or shows her cat.
Do you have poems on happiness? No. That
No, I
was
have a blog. I have the blog that I'm going to share that, I think.
That
cool.
would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So I guess that's everything. Everyone, thank you all for coming. There's at least 17 in chat, 17 watching. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. I'm not good with chat. I'm terrible with chat. Someday I'm going to get another computer and have that
Awesome.
go in the chat so I can read it.
It's still hard because I have
Hey.
it on my phone, but I can't read and listen at the same time, so I still struggle. But
Yeah,
Karen,
my-
you love me. I'm sending you lots of good stuff. You're in my
Yes.
heart.
So-
Love you guys.
Joy and favor and happiness to you all.
Namaste, my friends.
Mm.
Namaste. Love to you all.